Welcome to this chat. I'm here with Elliot from Urban Farmer, and we're just about to start filming some educational content for Urban Farmer. Today we're going to be working on a few things like mushroom bed grow and bucket grow, and maybe some other sort of how-tos. But we'll just, do you want to introduce yourself maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Who you are, what you do?
You missed out a key member of the team.
I'm sorry.
we got little Charlie here, who's the Urban Farmer doggo.
All wrapped up.
All wrapped up, yeah. You might have seen her on some of our videos before. She's a real cutie.
Where's she from?
Where's she from? Well, she's from Cyprus, actually, yeah. So she's a rescue dog from Cyprus, which is why she's so chilly and all wrapped up now, yeah, trying to tuck herself in. Yeah, but who am I? Yeah, I'm Elliot, and I was the founder of Urban Farmer. We started in early 2020, and yeah, it's been a rock and roll sort of trip so far. I mean, you know, you were there from the start.
Yeah, I've been there from the start. Just to interject, like when I started CONDUIT, he'd just started Urban Farmer, and this beautiful relationship kind of blossomed.
Yeah, that's it.
Right from the beginning. I think I DM'd you to write an article.
You slid into my DMs.
I slid into his DMs and was like, "Yo, do you want to write an article about what was it about? It was about sustainable living or?"
Well, no. So you like reached out and said, I've got this blog going on, and I think that my followers would appreciate it if you could write something about urban food growing.
My 100 followers.
Yeah, well, all big things start small, don't they? And so I did that, and then following that, you supported me because you purchased one of our early products, and like if you've got friends.
Did I pay for it? Or
of course you did.
You made me pay.
Of course, yeah. I think you were like the fourth or fifth customer that we had. So
really?
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, God,
it was personally delivered. He drove all the way to Canterbury.
Yeah, we needed the money. Personally hand delivered. Yeah. And I think it was beautiful because we were just, we were two people that are actually extremely different, in our personalities, but
in our businesses as well.
In our businesses, but there was like so much that just aligned, and it's just, it's been lovely. And that was like a year and a half ago.
It was like the start of the pandemic, maybe?
Yeah, 2020. Well, it was when the business started, so it was like early 2020.
Yeah.
So.
But that's where it all started. So you wrote that article for me, and we just kind of kept in contact and we're chatting. And then one day I got a message saying, "Do you want to bag some straw?"
You didn't know what you were in for, though.
No, he was like, "Do you want to bag some straw?" And I was like,
for anyone who grows mushrooms on any sort of scale, you know that the pumping bags full of straw becomes very, very, very arduous very quickly.
And messy.
So it was like the first thing that I looked to ship on, which is why we brought Marcus in, really.
We were in his mum's backyard, just.
Well, that's it, because we were in my mum's backyard and sort of like loft room for about 9 months, 8 or 9 months of operating. So it got really stressful.
The house was too small.
It was too small, yeah. I mean, it was good fun. Yeah, and it's a good problem. Like running out of space for a business is a good problem normally,
That's true. But that was the start. But like, just to quickly explain what Urban Farmer is for those who don't know and don't already follow us.
So I always struggle with this question because to me it's so many like different things. What it is the culmination of years of thought and experience and hardship that's all sort of brought me to where I am. And it started off basically when I was in university. I did a fishery management and aquaculture degree, and whilst I was doing that, I was really interested in aquaponics and the potential environmental positive impacts that can bring. I then went up and did salmon fishing, farming up in Scotland, and that was like a really lonely and hard time for me, and I really struggled. I've basically was taken advantage of by my employer, and it was a stressful time, and I kind of came to the revelation, fuck that. I don't want to work for people, particularly in this industry. But obviously, like, fisheries management is a very specific qualification. So I'd sort of decided I wanted to leave it, but I was like, shit, like, what do I actually, how can I apply that? So I didn't know. So I went travelling and worked in Southeast Asia and
Australia,
Australia. I was in Australia more recently than you.
Yeah, you were.
As an Aussie, yeah. I worked on a barra farm, and you know what, like meeting.
Barra means barramundi.
Barramundi, yeah. Yeah. I'll try and like layman's terms it a bit. And you know what, like meeting all those different people from all over the world, and sort of sharing my base concept for urban farming, and it being received by so many different demographics from people all over the world, you know, all in different situations in their life, and it all got received positively, and every person and every conversation I had added a little bit more to the vision. And then, so yeah, I came back to the UK, decided to start it, and like it's in my nature, I always dream massive, and a lot of people will start by putting, you know, a finger in a pie. I thought, you know what, screw it, we'll put 5 fingers in 5 pies. So we
overly ambitious. It's good to do that
it was ambitious, yeah, it was ambitious, and we just made it work. But you know, what is our urban farm actually? You know, it used to be me, and now it's grown into its own entity, which feels amazing. You know, like it's its own thing. It's the community that's involved with it, and what we all want basically is to positively influence the people around us to live in a more sustainable way. And how, you know, what's our focus? Our focus is on the sourcing habits of our food.
It's food based.
It's pretty much food based, or medicinal based as well. You know, plenty of medicinal applications for urban growing.
Yep.
You know, I just reckon that one of the biggest issues that we've got is the mass import and export market of our food, and it's really unnecessary in a lot of cases. And I think that as we sort of evolve as a country, you know, post Brexit particularly, we're going to need to become more self-sustaining. But what I'd realised from working in commercial food production and then talking to people all over the place is that there's like a huge gap in knowledge or confidence, or both. So what Urban Farm hopes to do basically is plug the gap between what the big boys are doing and achieving and what everyday people are doing and achieving.
And that's kind of where that word urban farming comes into play, because like, I didn't really know what urban farming was until I met you, but urban farming is kind of the concept that you can grow food in an urban environment anywhere. So by that we mean like in an apartment block building if you're living in the centre of London or
I think what I've realised I'm very, very good at is taking something that's very rigid as a concept, so say aquaponics or fungiculture, taking something that's really rigid and applying it to a real world scenario where people can achieve pretty efficient production. You know, like it seems like too big of a leap for most people to imagine that they could set up an aquaponic system in their allotment, but actually it's not. When you actually get your hands on the stuff and start doing it, it's really not. You just got to follow the rules, and you know, like we just want to empower people basically to be able to do this stuff.
And also, like, it's just like anything, it's a trial and error thing. So like I'd never grown mushrooms before, and with I remember when you first drove down to Canterbury and gave me your kit, like
mind blown.
I was like, what the hell? But it worked, and I think that's what I've seen through a lot of the urban farming customers, because I run the social media and do all the videography and stuff for urban farming now.
Just a little bit of work.
Little plug. Is that customers are surprised at how
productive it is. Yeah, it actually works. It actually works. Yeah.
Quickly as well.
Oh fuck yeah.
One of the first things I said was when you said, "Oh, why don't you grow some mushrooms?" I was like, "Is it going to smell?"
Yeah.
You know, or
people have so many misconceptions.
Is it going to be messy?
There's so many misconceptions around it. And
Not at all.
Like that's. Well, first of all, I'm trying to set the record straight on what people think mushroom growing is all about, because there's huge misconceptions. But you know, like you touched on it there, certainly the younger generation, but really I see it like transgenerational. People are almost scared. The average people are almost scared to just put seed in the ground. They're almost scared to just have a go at doing some microgreens. And it's like,
what's microgreens?
What is microgreens? Come on, you know that. Oh God! Well, an example would be like some little broccoli, broccoli seeds, and you could just
little plants.
Yeah, like juvenile plants basically, and they're pumped full of nutrients, and you know, like you don't need to give them any particular conditions. You just need to allow them moisture and something to cling on to so they can grow, and then you harvest them early. Okay. You know,
you learn something new every day, guys.
Oh, you knew that. He's playing, But look, but people.
So just before we move on, why don't you just you're saying people, you want to dispel some of the misconceptions about growing mushrooms, or why don't you just run through those now and just...
Well, something that I always get is like, someone's like, oh, they have to be grown in the dark.
I thought that too.
Yeah.
I did think that. I was like, oh, when am I going to put them? Blah, blah, blah.
But this is the thing, and this is what I'm trying to do for people. So, you know, if you have a conception where you think, and it's true, actually, like parts of the life cycle, yes, should be in the dark. Okay, fine.
But you don't need
a dark room.
Yeah.
You just put it in a bag or something. Yeah. You know, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think that people hear one challenge and they switch off to the concept.
Yeah.
So, which is why, for me, our like phase 1 products, so products like the mushroom growing kit, are critical in everything that we're trying to achieve, because it like breaks the ice on, you know, with people. So that they'll try a kit and then they'll be like, actually, that was really easy, I could do that myself, you know, and then they'll never buy a kit again. Then they'll advance onto a bucket grow or a bed grow or whatever it is. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
Down that path.
Yeah, you start them down the path, you give them the tools and you give them the education that they need to then start just doing it. And the way that I like to think about how our impact could be massive is it's like, you know, imagine that you sell 1,000 mushroom kits, right? That's 1,000 people who have kits in their hands. That's 1,000 people who are now aware of your message, okay? If those 1,000 people, 10% of them, made a small change to their habits in sourcing food or growing food or disposing of waste, because we talk about how to dispose all the waste correctly in our kits. Yeah. You know, if you can change 100 people's you know, habits slightly, that's a big impact. And if you did it even lower, so like 1%, if you change 10 people's habits in a serious way, i.e. something like they never buy mushrooms again from the shop, that's like an enormous impact. And that's something that then it rolls on, because they then teach people, and it's
education.
It's butterfly effect. Yeah.
No, I totally hear that.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. What are some other sort of misconceptions that people think about when you pose a question? Do you want to grow some mushrooms?
Yeah, well, they think, I'm kind of at the minute like imagining indoor growing. People are like, oh, well, they'll be like, oh, well, I've got a wooden floor, I don't want it to grow in the wood.
Has people asked you that before?
All the time. No, but this is the thing, like we can't laugh at it, because it's one of those where it's like, if you don't know, you just don't know, and you assume, and it's like...
Well, I thought mushrooms would smell, but they don't smell at all.
They smell great. They smell great.
Oh, wow.
If it smells bad, it's not going right.
The only thing that I will say, so like, now when I see like mycelium, you know, like that white fluffy stuff, or like, you know, a bag, like I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
But to someone who maybe doesn't understand that, they'll be like, what's that mold over there?
Yeah, that's it. Well, actually, that's another one. This is a key one. So basically what we do in some of our kits is we send the mushroom spawn separately to the customer, and that helps us safeguard it, because we keep it in perfect conditions right up until you're ready to use the kit, which means it's good for gifting and all this kind of stuff, right?
Shelf life.
But sometimes you'll send a kit and they'll send an image over to you and they'll be like, oh, there's mold growing on my seeds.
Oh, in the bag.
In the bag. Yeah. And, you know, like you have to, you know, just say that is a good sign. That is what you want to see. But like it just goes to show how little is known in common knowledge around mushroom growing. You know, mycelium, that is the main part of the organism, is the mycelium. The fruiting body is like, it's a mere short-term, you know, sexual organ of it.
Yeah.
The main thing is the mycelium, and people don't even know what that is, what they look at it.
What impact that plays on
everything
and all the plants. If you haven't seen Fantastic
Fungi, watch it,
on Netflix, Amazon, or wherever, go watch that. It'll change the way, even if you're not into mushrooms, like, or don't like mushrooms.
If you're not before, you will be after.
You will be after, but you'll realise like what a huge part they play in the natural world.
Yeah, and you know, like, so I've always been aware of mushroom growing, and you know, like I dabbled in it when I was a kid, and I was a little bit of a hobbyist. And then when I really started taking it super seriously, like it just changed the way I look at everything. Everything, the whole ecological landscape changed in my eyes. And yeah, it was.
Now we can give the gift of that vision to everyone, kids, adults.
Well, the thing I love about it as well is, you know, I mean, I read a lot, I study a lot. You know, I'm fascinated by the topic, and what I try and do is do a lot. I put it this way: there's a lot of bullshit online, and I trawl through a lot of bullshit to try and pick out the good nuggets to relay onto, like, you know, our customers and whatnot, because that's kind of like how we demystify it, is getting rid of the white noise around it. But what I found is that, you know, you'll peel...
Because it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
The mushroom world is an absolute rabbit hole.
Yeah, not just the psychedelic ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
in many ways,
a couple of rabbit holes there.
In many ways than one, yeah.
But no, what I love about it is that, you know, you think you know a lot, and then you peel back another layer, and like a tiny piece of information changes everything about what you thought. And then you peel back another layer, and then it does it again and again and again. And it's like, the more you know, the more there is to know. And the reality is that, you know, like, us as humans really don't understand these things anywhere near as much as we ought to.
Yeah. No, I hear you there, and I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Wow. Urban farming.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's good. So we're gonna. So just my role in urban farming is well, obviously I started with the mushroom, the bag, the chucking the straw in the bag.
Yeah. Started as a grunt.
Started as bottom rung, no. An integral part of the team.
Now you're at the dizzy heights. Yeah.
And yeah, I've been doing the videography and all the media sort of stuff for you. For a
Marcus
while
is a
now.
very talented videographer.
Well,
very talented.
I'm learning.
We'll attach a picture and you can see the rig that we're dealing with at the
You were
minute.
impressed. This is the first time Elliot's
I've ever seen
my
the rig,
new
yeah.
cinema rig. And I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
You guys can't see it because it's what it's being filmed on now. But yeah, so like what we're doing today is just trying to get the word out, what we've been talking about, like trying to get the word out there by making these like instructional videos and how to, so you can watch these and understand that, hey, this isn't so difficult. Like this is something I can do in my backyard or in my apartment by growing some mushrooms.
I mean, it's my vision. It's my vision that in the next sort of 5 years, everyone in the country knows that mushroom growing is a thing, for one, and a significant portion have tried it. That's like a good vision for me.
It's up and coming though.
Oh God, it's flying.
I'm biased because like obviously my social media
I'm biased as well.
is littered with like mushroom stuff because the algorithm's like, you like mushrooms, but hopefully like it starts popping up on more people's feed and people become more aware that you can grow your own food. And you know, we've spoken a lot about mushrooms, but this can apply for...
Oh, well, actually, that's something that we need to, you know, I mean, we are actually in an allotment.
Oh yeah, shout out to Howard.
Shout out to Howard, at Wincheap Allotments. Something that's really important as well to point out, and it's something that really winds me up, and I always talk about it. You know, guys who, for those of you who are allotment growers or any sort of food grower or plant grower or whatever it is, if you haven't thought about incorporating mushrooms in what you're doing, you are missing out big time. And the thing is that, you know, the people, look, in like parts of London, there's an 18-year waiting list for an allotment. When you get your hands on it, you want to maximise that, and also you want to take seriously soil regeneration and all this kind of stuff so that you have longevity of your growing space.
And quality.
And it's like, if you incorporate mushrooms, instead of having like a 20-metre square growing area, you can double it because you can incorporate mushrooms in your mulch. You know, you can do log grows, you can incorporate it in your pathways.
In the beds.
So not only are you increasing your growing area, it's also improving the structure of your soil. They have symbiotic relationships with pretty much every plant in that they make nutrients available.
They get rid of pests and stuff, some of them as
well. That's
an
amazing one. So something like a wine cap mushroom is awesome because it'll actively target nematodes and protect your plants from other pests. Another one that people don't often know as well is that lots of mushrooms, the metabolites, so the sugary liquids that mushrooms make, are fantastic feed for bees.
So they're the byproducts.
The byproducts, yeah, the metabolites, yeah. Fantastic food for bees.
I actually learned that from you because that happened. I was doing a bucket grow and I was checking on, opening the top and like checking on it, and I noticed there was that yellow.
Yeah. So it's like yellowy brown, yeah.
Yellowy brown sort of it's like a liquid.
It's like poo.
But I was like, oh no, what's that? And I was actually tipping it out because I wasn't sure what it was. But I watched one of the video you did with. Was it in London?
Yeah, probably.
And you mentioned that, and I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it does no harm. The thing is, like, it's like looking after any plant or animal or livestock. You know, the more time you spend with it, the more familiar you get with its characteristics. You know, like, I'm sure Howard will see a discoloration on his crop and instantly know what that is, where I wouldn't know that.
Yeah,
but you know. And the same with me, if there's like an unusually large amount of metabolite, then that might be a bad sign, or if there's green mold, that's definitely a bad sign. But yeah, no, just the ways, talking about this bee thing as well, it's really important, and everybody loves bees, and in the cities, So the problem in cities is not the number of bees, right? Let me clear that up. It's not the number of bees because
People think bees are disappearing.
no,
Isn't that the
no, but they are, but it's not. Because there's plenty of hobby beekeepers in the cities, right? But the problem is forage. There's not enough food for the bees, basically.
Okay.
There's not enough pollination going on anymore in cities because everything's become monoculture. It's either brick or it's park, you know. So even just by doing a mushroom grow on your balcony, that is quality nutrients for bees to eat. And some mushrooms also have antibacterial and antiviral properties for bees, which they can then return to the hive. So you can basically help the whole hive become more resilient.
Even if you don't like eating mushrooms,
Well, you should do it anyway.
do it for the bees.
Well, do it for anyone. Everyone.
Do it for everyone.
Do it and then donate your mushrooms to the local food bank. Do you know what I mean?
There we go. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I sound quite militant.
If we haven't convinced you in this video that mushrooms are just a one-stop shop to solve any problem
in the world, including including depression and all that.
Oh, don't start down that rabbit hole. But but anyway, I
think it's worth clarifying that urban farming is not just about mushrooms, though. You know, like it's so much more than that, and it's like community and ecology, and like we say, fisheries, and it's all of it blended into one.
Yeah, and you said, you got 5 fingers in the pie.
Five fingers in the pies, man.
So well, thanks for talking to me today.
No worries,
We're
mate.
going to get filming, and hopefully you watch our videos and you learn something.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
See you later, guys.
See you later.